Celebrity True or False.
You can't handle the truth.
All right, there you go. That's our production value.
Well, we'll see if you can handle it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Ted McGinley, Celebrity True or False. True or false, your first job in television was Happy Days?
Well, it's false.
Okay.
My first, I did a movie of the week with Jack Albertson and Mary Martin, where I was modeling at the time, and so my job was to run on the beach in the first scene and the last scene of the movie. And
Jack Albertson, of Chico and the Man and Willy Wonka fame.
Yes, and so they were going to pay me. They wouldn't pay me. They paid me my modeling day rate because they didn't want to give me too much. So anyway, it rained for 13 days. We did the first part, and then they had to keep me for 13. I was the third highest paid person on the show. And then every day, Jack would say, he'd call me into his trailer because I'd have to show up, and then we couldn't get it done. They had other things to do, and Jack said, "Come on in here, kid, and sit down and just tell me stories." And I thought, well, what is this acting thing? Interesting. And that was the first time I really got interested in it, and I thought, well, this sounds fast. I didn't sit around and watch TV growing up. I loved Elvis Presley. I loved his movies. I wanted to be Elvis Presley, and John Wayne, but that was kind of it. I wasn't really into television shows.
And then you got Happy Days off of that?
Yes. So then, I got in trouble when I was at USC because I started modeling and doing commercials, and they said I was making money because I was an athlete. And
the NCAA got involved in Ted McGinley's acting career?
Yes, and kicked me off the team after my junior year.
What?
And I moved to New York City. They said, if you want to come back, you have to pay for your scholarship for your junior year, go back, pay for your senior year, of which you're not allowed to play, and you can come back for your fifth year. So I moved to New York City to try to make some money so I could come back, and that's when I got Happy Days, out of the blue.
Huh. So long before there was Reggie Bush, there was Ted McGinley, basically.
Yeah, and by the way, I always sided with Reggie.
Right? I mean, I totally...
By the way, Reggie doesn't know what his stepfather's doing.
Well, he got his Heisman back. You should get your eligibility back. Get back in the pool, Ted.
Assigned... Well, we've talked about that, by the way.
Really?
For real, doing a reality show where the old fat guy goes back and gets in the pool. I'm going to move into the Sigma Chi house. My wife gave me the pass. I can do it. And then, I go play on the team and do it again one year.
We're going to get into Revenge and the Nerds in a second. Wow. But is it so? You go ahead and say your anniversary is today of what?
Yes. So October 24th is an anniversary that I've celebrated for many, many, many years.
Yes.
When I found out that I got Happy Days, and that was literally in 1980.
44 years ago today.
Yeah. And I was staying at my agent's house on the top of Laurel Canyon in Mulholland.
With the Cunninghams.
And I found out I got the job, and I went for a run on Mulholland. And I didn't know. I kept thinking, what does this mean? I have no idea. Can I do this? What is... I knew the show very well, but can I do it? And I knew my life was going to change from that day forward, but I had no idea how much. And that, I'll never forget that run and that phone call beforehand. I thought, on that run, I kept thinking, what am I going to do? What's going to happen to me?
Well,
can I do it?
One of my favorite guests and people I've met through this show is Henry Winkler.
Yeah, he's amazing.
What a great human.
Yeah, he is a great human being. I learned so much from Henry. Ever have I seen anyone handle a crowd like Henry can. And we would go into these events or arenas and people would swarm him. And the way he worked with people and the kindness that he showed and respect, and yet space, he was amazing. There's no one like him.
Ted McGinley, true or false? Next one, you once boxed Dick Butkus on the Love Boat.
True. True. What? Yeah, I took him down twice. That's a lie.
There it is. Look at that.
But he had bad knees. He had really bad knees, so I just kicked him in the knee.
Why was there boxing on the Love Boat?
Well, I think there's been boxing on almost every show I've ever done. We had a match in the ring, And all I had to do was keep moving. Yeah, I have no idea why.
Damn. So you boxed Dick Butkus on the Love Boat.
Yeah.
All right. I guess this, apropos of nothing, we have another photograph I'm wondering if you can help us with. This is this gets out there quite a bit. It's a photograph of you. There's Hulk Hogan, some of the cast members, and I believe that's Tim Rossovich, former NFL player.
Very good.
With Bruce Jenner down there.
That's correct.
What happened? There's more. Was this the Dick Butkus boxing episode? You're in a ring. There.
No, I think this was a wrestling one. Yeah. We, when you get later on in these shows, you take a lot of shots at different things, and so yeah. If the Miz was here, we try to get him in.
Wow.
Yeah. Try to do a big help for his career.
Did you ever think you and Gavin McLeod would be holding back the one and only?
Let me tell you, that was no easy job. The
right
Hulk
there.
is a beast.
Well, he certainly was
least.
bigger back then. Okay.
Yeah.
Next up, celebrity true or false for you, Ted McGinley. You actually had a beef with the nerds on the Revenge of the Nerds set at first, and it took you a few weeks to warm up to them.
True.
That's true.
Yeah.
You had a beef with the nerds.
Well, actually, I didn't start the beef. They showed up with some serious attitude. They showed up with some serious nerd attitude, which I was not expecting. And they were separatists. They wanted no part of us. And so after a while, I was like, wow, these guys are a bunch of losers. Anyway, as time went by and we spent a lot of evenings together working, we worked all nights for about a 2-week period. And that was sort of like a campfire every night. And we found a lot of common ground. But initially, it was pretty rough for a while.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
I mean, I found them to be really unfriendly.
the nerds, huh?
Yeah, and I was not expecting that. And I thought, okay, here we go. Like, you want that? Let's do that. And that's how it started.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Who in particular was the one that was leading the nerd beef here? Who was that? Do you remember?
Well, it's the two leads. Well, actually, the truth is, I mean, Booger was no trip to the beach either, I gotta say. Robert Carradine was the lead. He was, I think they were really all so tight, and they formed this amazing group, and I wanted in, and they're like, no, you're not coming in here. And
for real?
I mean, yeah.
Damn. Timothy Busfield and everybody were doing it?
Yes, but as time went by,
very nice.
We all got along great. I mean, almost too great. It was so much fun.
So much like the film.
Yes.
Really, in a way.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, we've broken that film down recently. You couldn't do anything we did in that movie today. Not a single thing.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. But that was so much fun. We went to U of A, and we were there for 6 weeks or a month, and they would put an ad in the paper. If we're looking for students, young ladies who want to be in the movie, come on in, audition. They would be in the frat house or the sorority, excuse me.
Right.
And those days, before we started the day, we would have dailies, and we would all sit with pizza and beer and sandwiches and have a party and watch what we'd shot the day before. I've never done that before, ever. And you could invite all the co-eds, anybody you wanted, friends, anybody could come in. And we had a huge party in there while we watched the dailies. That does not happen.
No. That sounds incredible.
And that sounds better than the movie.
Yeah, and then we would go to work. It was insane.
Wow.
Next one, Ted McGinley, celebrity true or false. You once filmed an episode of Married with Children at an S&M club, and the cast had a 6 a.m. call time arrived just as the club goers were leaving.
True. We were in London, and we were doing special episodes in London.
There you go. Yeah.
And we were working the S&M club, and so I was going down. I was wearing a patent leather outfit, as I remember, and all of a sudden, I had to pee. So, and by the way, I mean, getting in these costumes it takes an hour to get in. It's no joke. You have to have powder all over your body. So I went down there, And as I went down into the bathroom, there's like a couple guys, couple girls, kind of on the floor in the bathroom, changing, and I'm not sure what else was going on. And I thought, this is 6 a.m, and they still had business to do. It was amazing. I could not get over that. Anyway, and I had to stand there and pee while they're all having a conversation, whatever else was going on, right next to me.
So Ed O'Neill was in an S&M club in London, is what you're saying?
I don't think Ed was in that part of the episode, but Ed would have been.
You got a good Ed O'Neill story?
Oh.
You got a good one?
I can't. I have so many great. I love Ed O'Neill. I think I just watched that clip that you had on earlier, and he's the greatest raconteur of stories.
The best.
Burt Reynolds was the only guy I knew that was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Ed is the best, and he had so much to do every week, and the way he would carry himself and got through all of that was amazing. Mm-hmm. Great cast, but it all started with Ed and ended with Ed. But we had an episode. We were doing the title shots, and he and I are sitting at a table, and they're going to have a lady with some beautiful legs stand on top of the table. And so we have no idea. We get there in the legs, and we both look up. And we had a lot of, I guess you could say, strippers on the show at the time. And so she forgot a piece of her costume, and no one told us. And Ed and I both were trying to be professional. I'll never forget us, because they said, "Can you take a sip and then look up?" And we look up, and oh no! And I remember that moment of seeing Ed's face, sharing that moment together, and that was Married with Children in a capsule. I mean, they love to put you in those situations and watch the response. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I want to talk about things you can't do today.
Yeah.
That show. Oh,
well, you certainly can't do that bit.
That bit.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
Last one, true or false? You were once in a comedy improv group with Sam Kennison.
I was in a class
with him.
Yeah, and Sam, so that is true. And so when I first came on to Married with Children, I did a Christmas special, and I played the husband that Katie would have married had she not been with Ed. And it was a perfect life. And Kennison played the angel. And I knew Sam from that improv class.
Yes.
So when I first got on Happy Days, they said, "Listen, there's a class here on the studio. If you want, you can get into it. It's really fun." And I had no idea, and I was afraid to make a fool of myself. Now that's all I do. But back then, we went into class, and Kennison was there, and it was the great Harvey Lembeck was his class, and that was those were magic times. Really, really fun. But Sam's on the show. Sam kills it at the table read. The next day, he no-shows, and no one knows where Sam is. Not a good idea in television. They were worried about him anyway, so some people had seen him out the night before. Some cast members had seen him somewhere, and so that was a deal. So the next day, Sam shows up. He knows everything inside out. He was having tooth surgery, he said, and couldn't communicate with anyone. Mm-hmm. So the next day he shows up, and he has lunch hosted by Chasins being carried by strippers to all of us. And the next day he opened his new comedy album for us all, and had lunch again. So he made up for it greatly, and he killed it. He was so good in the episode. But that was Sam. I mean, he was one of a kind. I loved him. He was, and deep down, like the kindest, sweetest guy.
I mean, him and Back to School is classic. Any of his stand-up routines are classic.
He killed me. I loved him.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku Channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.